If you clicked on this video, you most likely want a good guide for Noob. Well, today you found the perfect one. Before we start, please like and subscribe. Now, let's get into it. Before we start, we need you to understand Noob's kit. Don't worry, this will be like a minute long, unlike those other guide videos. For Noob's first ability is Bloxy Cola. You drink a Bloxy Cola, gaining speed 1 for 10 seconds. You'll become faster than every other killer in the game in these 10 seconds. However, you will be unable to sprint while drinking this. An important thing to note is that if you drink the Bloxy Cola, any slowness on you will be removed immediately. For Slateskin, you just drink a Slateskin Potion and you will become basically invincible for 6 seconds. Using this will actually slow you down heavily and make you unable to sprint. This is made up for its slower wind-up. Ghostburger is a move that has a decent amount of wind-up. You will be undetectable and invisible for 10 seconds. Undetectable makes you immune to any aura effects from the killer, like Air 404 or Unstable Eye. Note that undetectable doesn't work in LMS. You mostly want to play Noob as a survivalist, so let's get into the tip. Bloxy Cola is an extremely overpowered ability. You can use it for many purposes. I'll list some reasons. For one reason, you can use Bloxy Cola when you're trying to find gens to save time. Bloxy Cola is an extremely helpful ability in chase. However, you need to use it when the killer sees you and you're at medium distance. Using this ability up close in front of the killer will most likely get you killed. But you can cancel many slowness effects using this ability, like John Doe's digital footprint. So you can actually tank the digital footprint, then use Bloxy Cola. This is extremely useful in LMS or trying to help a teammate. I don't recommend doing this in front of John Doe, however. Only try to do this when a teammate is in dire situation or you're in LMS and need to get rid of the puddle so you can loot better. Also, when in LMS, do not use Bloxy Cola when the killer is on the other side of the map because your speed will be limited. Instead, use it when the killer is mid-distance to you so you can get more advantage of your speed. Next up, we have Slateskin. Slateskin is an underrated ability and has gotten many good buffs. You can use this at the last 7 seconds of LMS to guarantee a free win. This ability is really good against Cool Kid because you can tank minions and tank the burning effect after pizza delivery and walk speed overdrive. You can also use this to tank digital footprint. You don't get the corruption, but you'll still get the slowness. That's why Bloxy Cola is a lot better in my opinion. Also, another pretty important situation for it is when you're getting chased down by 1x. If you know you're gonna get hit by entanglement, you can use Slateskin to completely negate the damage. Another thing you can do is when Nosferatu is using Ascension, you can Slateskin completely negating the damage. Slateskinning its mid-chase is extremely situational. However, you can take advantage of the speed 1 after or even speed 2. As you know, canceling Slateskin will give you speed 1. Not canceling it and waiting for the full duration to be over will give you speed 2. What you can do is, if the killer does an M1, break out of Slateskin, then their M1 will be on cooldown. Then you can escape with your free speed 1. However, it is not advised to use Slateskin with a good slasher main because Slasher can use Behead while you're in Slateskin, therefore locking you out of Slateskin, making you unable to cancel it. Then you can perfectly time it, doing Gashing Wound, basically doing a free 50 damage. Now, finally for Ghostburger. Ghostburger is a pretty good ability, but it doesn't have much use cases except for one little thing. Of course, you can just use it regularly, but Forsaken a while ago has nerfed that undetectable does not work in LMS. However, what if I told you there's a way to cheese it? When there's one person left, you and another survivor, and they're not chasing you, watch the timer very closely. If you see the timer go up, use Ghostburger immediately. Because LMS hasn't started, your aura will still not be highlighted. This basically wastes 10 seconds of the killer's time. Or if you're Cool Kid, it's genuinely so time wasting. Of course, this will work all the time, like Corrupt Nature, Behead, Corrupt 404, Entanglement. You get the point. But if done right, it is genuinely so funny seeing the killer trying to find you. However, I haven't mentioned one thing. It's technically like a secret ability. Slateskin plus Ghostburger. If you use Ghostburger then Slateskin, you will be damn almost near invisible. This is extremely useful. Just look at this clip I got right here. Now, it's better to do this with some skins like Combat Initiation, and worse to do this with other skins. However, no matter which skin you use, it is still extremely effective. I don't recommend using this in LMS though, because the killer can highlight and undetectable does not work in LMS. But Team Gil, how do you counter every killer in the game? Now, that's a good question. Well, now I will explain to you how to counter every single killer in the entire game. But first, before we go into this, I would like to give you some additional tips. You can actually body block with Slateskin. This is actually extremely effective towards helping your team. Also, it is recommended to gen rush as much as possible. Now, you might be wondering, what is sandbagging and why is Noob the best at it? Sandbagging involves running headfirst into the killer to create a blockade to slow them down and waste their stamina. Noob is so effective at this because of his Slateskin ability and basically makes him invincible and take no damage. With the other survivors, you might take some chip damage, but with Noob, nuh-uh. This is a really helpful tip and makes Noob an actual help to the team. Sandbagging is most effective on a low timer. But now, let's go on how to counter every single killer in the entire game. For Slasher, it's a tricky one because both of them counter each other perfectly. Slasher's biggest weakness is distance. If you use Bloxy Cola, you can gain tons of distance. And sandbagging against Jason is extremely effective because he needs distance to catch up. Without a distance, he's basically impossible to catch up to anybody. However, Slasher can counter Slateskin incredibly well. If you, the noob, use Slateskin, Slasher can behead, making you unable to cancel Slateskin and basically getting a gashing wound. However, that still doesn't change that you can counter Slasher effectively well. Next up, we have Cool Kid. I like to think Noob counters Cool Kid incredibly well. Noob can take the minions. This is extremely helpful considering that Slateskin has a cooldown of 55 seconds and Piece of the Lily has a cooldown of 50 seconds. This means you can basically shut down minions every time. Slateskin completely negates burn damage if you guys didn't know. Also, if Cool Kid leaves you for LMS, oh boy, you basically won. Using that strat I told you, Cool Kid is basically losing the game. This is why I like to think that Noob counters Cool Kid incredibly well. Next up, we have John Stone. Now, people don't really know how to counter John Doe as Noob, but I got you guys. John Doe also get countered by Noob a little bit. You can completely negate digital footprints because Bloxy Cola negates all slowness effects while drinking. You have to walk into the puddle, then drink, Bloxy Cola first, however. Even if John Doe will get speed 1, so will you, so it's basically a fair trade-off. Also, that both Ghostburger trick completely counters Era 404. Now, next up, we have 1x. I would like to say that both of them countered each other perfectly. If you know you're gonna get hit by a Tigleman, use Slateskin. However, in LMS, undetectable does not work, so basically you can't hide from the 1x minions anymore. But in the early game and to mid game, I think Noob perfectly counters 1x. In early game, 1x will most likely have no minion. In mid game, 1x will have some minions, but however, undetectable does work when it's not LMS. Noob is an absolute annoyance to go against when you're 1x and it's not LMS. But 1x perfectly counters Noob in LMS because of undetectable not working. Also, you can now take close-up mass infection now. The next killer we have is Noli. Now, I think Noli actually counters Noob. Noli has Observant and Void Rush to catch up to Noob with his Bloxy Cola. And you can Nova when Noob is doing the wind-up of his abilities. But sandbagging against Noli is still incredibly effective because of Void Rush. But however, we have Guess 666 next. Well, I'm gonna say it. Guess 666 completely counters Noob. Sixer doesn't really care about distance due to his passive being able to run faster, or you can just use Eviscerate. And not to mention the long LMS. You are just genuinely cooked. Now, finally, we have Nosferatu. Nosferatu is an extremely inconsistent killer. If you Slateskin, Nosferatu might hit you with the Hunter's V. If Nosferatu is using Cataclysm, you can use Bloxy Cola. If Nosferatu is far away and he misses a Blood Hook, you can use Bloxy Cola. If Nosferatu is obviously going to hit you with this attention, use Slateskin. So, is this the end of the video? Oh, yes, it is. Well, it's been a pretty fun time making this video, but watch these videos that YouTube has recommended. Okay, see ya. Okay, bye guys.